It's time to get inside the Giants huddle.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
On Giants.com.
Here we go, here we go.
And the Giants mobile
Get
app.
them in there, let's go.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Giants Huddle. I'm Paul Dottino. You can always catch us on the Giants mobile app, Giants.com, and all your favorite podcast platforms. And we are here now with offensive lineman Mark Glowinski, veteran free agent signing by the New York Giants, 3 years in Seattle, 4 years in Indianapolis. Mark, you come here to the Giants as a very high-profile free agent signing. What was it about this organization that attracted you to come here? I do know that Bobby Johnson, the O-line coach, had some time with you with the Colts.
Yeah, exactly. Just opportunity to, be able to keep playing football, first of all. And, Bobby was one of those guys that I've kept in contact with a long time, like after games and stuff like that. Even when he was on his way to Buffalo, I knew I would have been on his radar early, but the Colts got to me early. So, it was either be with the Colts, or I probably would have been with Bobby with the Bills. So whenever the opportunity presented itself, it was a great opportunity to do that. So.
Well, why don't we keep it there with Bobby Johnson? What is it about him as an offensive line coach that you like, that leads him to succeed, and that made you want to rejoin him?
Him just checking you daily, making sure that you're doing the things that you need to, being brutally honest with you, and keeping it light at the same time, just making it fun to come in the room daily and just go out there and execute and do the things that you're asked to do. But it's, you have that competition level that he wants you to live up to, but also keep it light.
Let's talk about this Giants offense now. Brian Daboll comes in from Buffalo. Obviously, a very dynamic offensive attack with the Bills. Mike Kafka had a very dynamic offensive attack he worked with Kansas City. As an old lineman, how much does that kind of get your juices going, that you know where those guys are coming from?
Yeah, just being able to watch Bills games and stuff, watching film and everything, and seeing a lot of the things that we were doing early in the Colts with like a lot of pooling and doing different things and those dynamic plays. It just like fires you up. It gives you the opportunity to just want to do the things, the in-between ground. You can't necessarily run and catch the ball, but at least you can get out in space and have fun out there. So it'll be a great opportunity to do all that.
You have played both guard spots in your career. Which one is easier for you to do, or by this point, are they both old hat and it doesn't matter where the Giants use you?
I don't think it necessarily matters where. I felt comfortable at left as well. But I've played a good amount of time at the right side. So it honestly doesn't matter. But, I've played so much at the right that it just, it's not even thinking at this point about that.
Let's assume for the moment that you would be the starting right guard. Mm-hmm. Evan Neal looks like, the first-round draft pick, that he'll be the starting right tackle. What can you do to help his process along as he jumps into the NFL, making that big jump from NCAA football?
I think it's just keeping on with him, on knowing exactly what he needs to do. It's just a lot of communication, him understanding what the plays are, because he's blessed and gifted with, strength and mobility and all the things that you need. And, just watching him, just doing some drills and stuff, him putting his hands on people, that he's ready. You just got to make sure that he's in the right place at the right time. And just like all of us, we're learning all new stuff. So we had a little jump start to know all the, the ins and outs of the verbiage and all that stuff. So it's us just communicating and being on the same page so he can be in the right place. So, as soon as I line up, I'll make sure that he knows exactly what's going on. And then we'll kind of keep working and building to build where we don't have to communicate this, the simple things, and it can just be more dynamic things that we have to do to execute our jobs.
Let's talk about the chemistry factor for a minute, because the Giants have really overturned this offensive line room during this offseason, brought in veterans such as you and Max Garcia and Feliciano, in addition to drafting Evan Neal. So how hard is it going to be to get all of the chemistry necessary to succeed, knowing that opening day is in September and it's going to be here before you know it?
Yeah, I think it's just us getting together as much as possible. We just had a dinner not too long ago, just to communicate and talk and just get to know each other. But I think it's just maximizing every opportunity that we have in the meeting rooms, in the weight room. Anytime that we're doing anything, all these fun activities that we do, competitions and everything, to build chemistry. And a lot of us, we're the same year, like we're 7 or 8 years, and we've known each other really well and kept in communication. Like I played with Feliciano in a Shrine game a long time ago, so every time we ran into each other, we would have conversations, kept up, on family and stuff like that. But I think it really just comes down to just repetition for us and just keep building. That's what offensive line play is just making sure that we're all cohesive and doing the same job. Make sure we're all doing if we're going to be wrong together, if everybody's doing exactly the same thing, so we're at least on the same page. But, it just keep doing all the reps that we can together, communicating, and I think it'll resolve itself.
When you were with the Colts for a couple of years, as that Colts offensive line was coming together and becoming one of the best in the league, you did have consistency.
Right.
For over 2 years, it seemed like you had the same 5 guys all the time. This is something that's got to be built from scratch, but you're saying because of the age similarities and the fact that you know some of these guys already, it helps a lot.
Yeah, it definitely helps in the sense, but, it also just us being as healthy as possible, being available to play, like the consistency that we had. And when I was at the Colts, it was, whatever we could do to make sure that we were playing on game day together and not trying to keep the rotation all messed up. And, because then it kind of leads to a little bit of communication stuff or anything like that. So I think it's just us being together, doing as much as possible with one another to build and just have that cohesion that I was talking about.
Don't miss your chance to experience a premier hospitality experience watching Giants games and world-class concerts in 2022 as a Giants suite partner. Limited full-season locations are available, or place a deposit for individual games. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit giants.com/suites for more information.
When you tell Giants folks that when you came here, what did you have to sell them on? Obviously, their scouting and their personnel department knew that they were going to target you, and Bobby Johnson probably told them as well. But when you had those conversations, what did you need to tell them about you to make sure that it was a good fit, and vice versa?
I think they understood me from the past, especially Bobby. I think Bobby was the one that was probably selling me as much as anything. Because he, just like the communication and stuff that we've had in the past and keeping in touch just for, the opportunity that might have presented, like exactly what happened. I think it was just more, on the other side of him actually putting in the time to make sure, because as it goes, it just felt, the scouts and stuff are going to watch film and everything anyway,
sure.
So they're going to know everything about me, and I feel like I'm just bringing everything that I've done in the past to the table, and I think they knew that.
There's a lot of pressure, I think, at least from the outside, and maybe you guys don't feel it inside on the offensive line because the Giants have struggled a lot over the last several years at that position. Is that something that adds to the weight on your shoulders at all, or can you simply, as offensive linemen, especially the veterans that are coming in, lock that out?
Yeah, from the inside, we definitely don't feel it, but, just us going to different places, me talking to people outside the building, like if I go to different restaurants or talk to people outside the building, that's something that was definitely a concern, and they were grateful that, us were able to come and make this team and all that stuff. So for us, I don't think we think about it. You bringing it up now, I'm thinking about it a little bit. But in the sense, I think we're just focused on what we need to do, all the little things like lifting, making sure that we're eating right, just studying, doing all the things that we need to do to prepare for the season and execute. This is really early, so anything that's going on right now, that's all the things that we're doing right or wrong are great for us right now, just so that we can get over those things and focus in on the next play, make sure that we get it right. If we're going to do something wrong, we might as well do it now so that we can figure out everything that we need to do for the season.
Besides talent and pure ability, you've been on some offensive lines that have gone to playoffs. Mm-hmm. What is the key element? Maybe there are 2 or 3 key elements that an offensive line has to have in addition to just pure ability to be a winner.
Yeah, I think it's like I was saying, you have to make sure we play together, but you have to bring that feeling of nastiness. You want the other teams to know that it's going to be a long day for them, and just make sure that we do everything that we need to do assignment-wise, play with physicality, dominate the guys, and for us, it's just being whole, be one, do what we can do to help the team. It starts up front, as always, on offense. The offensive line, defensive line. It all starts with us. We have to make sure that we protect or make sure that we're assignment right.
They say iron sharpens iron. We're looking at a defensive front here that could be really, really good by the time they get themselves going. You don't have pads on now, so I know it's hard to really judge that. But how much do you think that will help you guys as an offensive line going against this defensive front?
Yeah, it's just going to keep us on our toes, make sure that we have to do what we have to do at all times. We work out with these guys side by side, and they're doing similar weights, or, you can see the physicality and strength and explosiveness out of these guys, and, just how dynamic they are. So just like us, as long as they're doing their jobs, executing, being all on the same page, make sure they, are doing their stunts or whatever they're doing, make sure they're gap sound. I think it'll keep us going and keep us the competition level really high to help us be one.
I know you've played Baltimore over the last few years, at least a couple times. Can you give me a quick thumbnail scouting report on what it's like to play a Wink Martindale schemed defense? Because most people talk about the frenetic kinds of combinations that he can throw at you.
Yeah, you got to expect everything. There might be a time that there might be blitz that comes until you can figure it out and diagnose it. I remember in the past just running endless screens because you knew that they were just going to keep bringing the blitz until you figured it out. Just even like we played them last year, it was tit for tat. We just back and forth until the end. Whoever had the ball last won, just because they were doing a really good job, and they had a lot of explosive guys on offense as well. But yeah, you have to expect it all and be ready for anything, and just got to be, you have to know your assignments and do whatever you can and play with great effort.
Final thing, besides the chemistry in the offensive line room, how important is it for you guys as new offensive linemen coming together with Saquon Barkley to get chemistry with the starting running back and with your quarterback, Daniel Jones?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really big part of it, as well as making sure that we're communicating and being on the same page with those guys as well, making sure that our signals that we have, our verbal communications on the same page, hearing what we need to hear from the huddle, from the quarterback, any changes and calls. So we just have to keep going and communicating so that we can get really comfortable with all the calls that are being made, because Saquon has to do a lot in the pass as well, so we have to make sure that we're letting him know what's going on, and we have to make sure that he feels comfortable when we have the opportunity to run the ball, that we're doing an assignment, make sure that we're covering up guys and doing what we need to, and quarterback just making plays, throwing the ball down the field as much as he can.
I won't ask you any predictions as we close up shop here, but can you get a feel for how potent this offense could be, whether it's the run game or the pass game, just by seeing the skill positions that you have out on the field during the spring?
Yeah, I feel bad for those guys because there's so many guys that are explosives and dynamic and are making plays out there, from the first, because we have 3 groups of guys going right now, and they're all making plays, catching the ball and doing things. So I think for them, I think that's going to actually be beneficial for us, because you see all those guys competing at a high level, and it's going to be crazy to see who can make it and who the backups are, because the backups are going to do the same job or even better, so it's going to be nuts.
As long as they save a pass for you during the season, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but I won't put any money down on there, but if it happens, I'll be very, very excited for that.
Mark Glowinski, thanks so much for your time. We wish you the best of luck. Welcome to the Giants.
Yeah, thank you very much. Go Big Blue.
Giants season tickets are on sale now for the 2022 season. In addition to ticket savings, membership benefits include access to exclusive events, experiences, pre-sales, and more. You can lock in your seats starting at just $100. Call 888-NYG-1925 or visit Giants.com/tickets for more information.
Welcome back to the Giants Huddle. I'm Paul Dottino. You can always catch us on the Giants mobile app, Giants.com, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Our guest today is offensive lineman Max Garcia. 4 years with the Denver Broncos and 3 years with the Arizona Cardinals. But you signed here as a free agent during this past offseason. What is it that attracted you to the Giants? What about the fit? What about the situation? Or maybe it was a connection that maybe we don't know about that brought you here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, Paul. I would say that the main thing that attracted me was just how eager and excited they were to have me. You know, I really felt, wanted by this staff. And then when I figured out, the people that they were bringing in with the Giants, I was like, you got Dave, you got Kafka, OG Bobby Johnson as the O-line coach. I've heard a lot of great things about him. And I asked, some of the free agents that had signed just recently, Feliciano and Jamil, asked them, how do you like him? And they just raved about him. So that was one of the, biggest things is that, he was a coach that, is going to fight to make you better. So that's what I'm all about, especially, going into year 8, I'm always just trying to get better. So
the reputation of Kafka and Dable coming from two very dynamic offenses is something that's attractive to other players.
Definitely. I mean, you see the production that they've had offensively. Those are the type of offenses that you look at, that you watch films like, man, what are they doing? Because there's so many motions, there's so much, they do so many things that make the offensive line successful, in my opinion. So I just wanted to be a part of that.
All right, let's talk about your versatility. You've played left guard, right guard, and center in this league. You've been on multiple playoff teams with multiple organizations, have a Super Bowl with Denver. So where do you think your best fit is? Where do you want to compete in terms of your landing spot eventually when it all settles out with this roster?
Honestly, it's wherever I can fit in. We have a group of extremely talented offensive linemen. It's going to be hard, honestly, to make this team because of the quality guys that we have in the offensive line. So wherever I can find my niche, wherever I can, have that impact, wherever I can, make a footprint on the offensive line, that's where I want to be. But last year I played center. First time really, playing center. So that was a really good opportunity for me to showcase that I can, play that position. So whether it be guard or center, that's I'm just all around.
What would you like the coaches to know about you as a player? The personnel department obviously knew because they wanted you to be here. They wanted to talk to you in free agency. The coaches may not know as much. What do they need to see in you?
For me, honestly, is that I'm a guy that's always going to give, my effort. I think my film speaks for itself. I'm always going to cover down. I'm always going to pick the running back up. I'm always going to look out for my teammates. And that's just, that's who I am. That's ingrained in me. I've always been that way. I've always, put, my teammates first and somebody else, before me. I just feel like that's the way that I can, be the best, leader is to look out for my other teammates and to, just to make sure that, they're in the best position by me making the right calls. And by me, doing my responsibility, I'm looking out for my other teammates.
You mentioned before about the guys and the chemistry and stuff. I'm curious about that because they always say offensive lines are probably the most tightly knit groups on a football team. How important is it for you as a veteran lineman coming into a new team to be part of that glue?
Yeah, it's extremely important for the veterans in the room to really establish that culture because we're the guys that have been in the league the longest. We've seen different, offensive line rooms where maybe it was a little bit, people weren't really meshing together. Maybe guys weren't really hanging out with each other. So as we have the rookies here now, we really want to establish that culture. It's like let's get to know the rookies. Let's bring them in, get them under our wing because there's a lot of information. The playbook is immense, so we have to really know, type of What?
Give and take?
Yeah. We have to, we have to encourage them. We have to lift them up. We have to bring them.
I got you.
We have to, get them on the same page with us. It's not like, well, these guys are rookies. Let's like leave them hanging. No, we're trying to, bring them in as quickly as possible because as quickly as we can get them on board, the better it will be. Having
been to the postseason like you have, is that the one thing besides raw talent and ability that an offensive line has to have to succeed?
Yes, most definitely. Our Super Bowl run with Denver, that was the tightest group that I've been a part of. We were doing everything together, whether it be just going to get lunch, going to, do dinner, watching film together. Whatever we were doing, we were trying to, have as many offensive linemen involved as possible. And I believe that really, paid its dues, going down the stretch because we all just had that chemistry, that bond. It was like, I know that that's my brother. I know that he's going to look out for me. I know that he's going to be responsible for his, position and his duties. So when you can really have that chemistry, it makes a world of difference. And I've been on teams where the offensive line hasn't, been that close, and it's shown. So we want to be as tightly knit as possible.
As we go through the summer and we get to training camp, and there'll be a few weeks of that, and there'll be some preseason games and so forth and so on, this line has to come together quickly because all of a sudden week one is upon us, and it has been a completely rebuilt offensive line that we're talking about. Right. What are the realistic expectations for September to have you guys gel as quickly as you need to?
Yeah, well, we really have to get on it right now while we have about 4 or 5 weeks while we're still here. So those things that I'm talking about, doing dinners together and doing those things, we want to do that, right now while we're, all still here. Camp is always going to show, how closely like we've meshed and it's going to encourage us to continue to do that. We spend a lot of time in the building. So whether we're getting lunch, whether, we're in the hot tub, or in the cold tub, like we want to do those things and communicate and talk about X's and O's as much as possible. We want to, just to get to know each other. But I feel like I think we can get it done. I think we have the group, we have the leadership, and John and Jamil and Glow, all those guys, all of us, are 8-year veterans. So we know what it takes. And I believe we have that type of character as well.
It always starts with the offensive line for any offensive unit, but the skill position players who are here can be pretty dynamic. Saquon Barkley lights up a lot of eyes immediately as soon as he touches the ball. How much does that kind of juice up the offensive line, knowing that those guys can make plays for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a dream, to play and block, with a guy like Saquon. And you got Shep, you got Slay out there. We got a lot of talent in all different places, all different phases. And we're seeing that on the field already. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm incredibly, I'm juiced up, just to see, us on Sunday and get the job done. And I feel like the coaches are really going to cater to the personnel, and I think that's crucial, to this game. Is like knowing the people that you have and just catering to their skills.
Can you already get a flavor, even though we're so early in the spring process, for the style of offense that we're going to see?
Man, all I can say is just dynamic. All I can say is dynamic. I mean, we're gonna play fast. That's all I know. And we're just gonna communicate as best as possible. We're gonna play efficient. I mean, it's right now it's tough. We got a lot of things going in, but it's just. It's what you've seen, when you look at Buffalo and what they've done in the past few years, what you've seen Kansas City do the last few years. I mean, it's an offense that is extremely dynamic. I mean, you never really know what's coming. So I'm just looking forward to learning the playbook and being able to function at that high level.
Max Garcia, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the Giants.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you.